In this lesson, we'll explain the National Plan and Provider Enumeration System. After completing this lesson, you'll be able to define the NPI system and explain the difference between individual and organizational NPI. The National Provider Identifier System is also known as NPI. NPI collects identifying information on healthcare providers. Each person is assigned a unique 10-character alphanumeric code ID number. Knowing about NPI is typically the first step in the contracting and enrollment process. All health plan carriers require each and every provider in your clinic and lab to have an NPI number. This includes physicians, PAs, nurse practitioners, public health nurses, and LVNs, as well as each pharmacist and lab technician. The clinic site gets its own NPI number. If your department has a lab, pharmacy, or other entities, you'll need separate NPI numbers for your clinic's lab and pharmacy. Each provider is responsible for obtaining his or her own NPI number, but it's the credentialing specialist who coordinates this process and makes sure it gets done. Fortunately, there's no cost to get one, and the process is easy. To apply for NPI numbers for your clinic providers, you'll need to understand taxonomy codes. Taxonomy codes identify a provider by type, like physician, an area of specialization, like pediatrician or OB/GYN. As we review the details, you'll be able to refer to the downloadable job aid on applying for an NPI number for more details on where to find taxonomy codes and how to apply online. Taxonomy codes have 3 levels. Level 1 is provider type, Level 2 is classification, and Level 3 is the area of specialization. It's common for providers to have been assigned an NPI through a previous employer, so before applying for an NPI for each of your providers, you should check the NPI registry. To find the URL displayed here, you can refer back to the job aid on applying for an NPI number. From the NPI registry page, select NPI registry. From here, you can search for each provider employed at your clinic. If you find any of your clinic's providers in the registry, be sure to have them update their current clinic affiliation and address. To get your NPI numbers, apply online at the NPPES website, continuing on to the NPI registry page as shown previously. Here you'll need to choose either an individual provider, such as a physician, or an organizational provider, like your clinic, lab, or pharmacy. Choose the one you'll be working on first, but ultimately you'll need to register both individual and organizational providers. Follow the instructions and enter information. When entering addresses, use the clinic or lab address, not your home address. Remember that the information can be accessed publicly. It's a good policy to update this file annually to account for staff changes. Now, please follow the instructions to take the quiz for this lesson. It will look familiar. It's the same one you took before viewing the lesson. This time, you'll be able to see the correct answers as you respond to demonstrate what you've learned. After you've completed the quiz, you may continue at your own pace to view subsequent lessons at your convenience. The lessons are ordered, so you'll build your knowledge of each part of the billing process that relates to your role. When you finish all the lessons, you'll be able to print out a certificate of completion to reward your efforts. Thanks for your attention. Please continue on to the quiz.